I'm Melanie Seneviratne, Fractional COO. Welcome back to our final session in the Building High Performing Teams in Law Firm series. Today we're talking about leadership, how lawyers can manage their staff effectively, reduce stress, and build a culture that attracts great people. Welcome back, Shama.
Thanks, Melanie. I'm excited to wrap up this series by focusing on leadership. Lawyers mostly have legal training. This does not include training on how to lead people. In fact, most professional training doesn't. However, how you show up as a leader can make or break your firm's success.
So many lawyers aren't trained to manage support staff. Why do you think this creates challenges?
Without proper leadership training, management can become a guessing game based on who is involved. Sometimes one can luck out, but mostly this lack of training leaves the lawyer feeling frustrated and stressed out, on top of the stress that comes from the work itself. More often than not, staff feel unappreciated and undervalued, leading to the development of a toxic workplace, like we discussed in our previous video. One of the greatest missed opportunities with poor leadership is the miscommunication that results. While the lawyer tries to communicate what is important to them and for the business, the staff continue to see this as criticism and a lack of appreciation for their efforts. Worse still, staff do not feel supported to voice their concerns to try to improve the situation. Many important things remain unsaid, and developing resentments only compound the existing day to day issues.
Another source of stress is employee issues. So, how can lawyers manage them effectively?
Where you have people, you're going to have issues. Without this, many lawyers wouldn't have jobs. Kidding aside, employee relations is a serious part of people management, requiring sound leadership. Most of the time, a situation all but blows up before it is dealt with. It is common to turn a blind eye to a brewing issue in the hope that it will go away. Understandably, no one really wants to deal with messy situations. However, it is possible to deal with these messy situations with calmness and firmness so long as there is an established positive work environment. When the workplace is toxic, the situation becomes more complicated and it needs to be dealt with a good understanding of the issues. It's a good idea to engage an outside consultant to deal with these situations. There is a lot of learning that comes from employee relations issues if one makes time for it. There are individual differences between people, but reasons for human behavior is never just about one thing. Especially, you can get clues about what in the workplace either causes or encourages such behavior, and what exacerbated the situation to make it reach a breaking point. This speaks to the culture as well as the degree of psychological safety. As a leader, you can influence both.
So, another thing is that finding good people is hard. So, how can lawyers attract and retain talent?
Good question, and I think this is one that everyone is asking today. Hiring
Mhm.
in today's job market is challenging because a lot has changed. From an applicant perspective, potential employees are looking for a lot more than a job, which in previous generations was seen largely as an exchange of labor for money. With the development of an awareness of the employee experience, we have learned that people ultimately are looking for a variety of their needs to be met from a job, not just their financial ones. In fact, employers today have to actively market themselves to attract the right people by showing them not only competitive pay, but benefits such as work life balance and the opportunity for advancement. These items must be front loaded and followed through on quickly in order to retain top talent. Finally, all the expectations must be effectively communicated so there are no misunderstandings after someone is hired.
So, speaking to that, communication is key. So, how do lawyers solicit input instead of just giving instructions?
Good question. As I've mentioned previously, professional training sets a person up to be able to deliver on desired client outcomes. This does not include how they should run the back end in order to make these outcomes happen. Out of necessity or not knowing anything different, lawyers often do just give instructions and don't solicit the necessary input from their staff. This requires a change in their mindset. The lawyer needs to see support staff as experts in their own areas and empower them to provide input into day to day operational concerns. The lawyer should also see themselves as someone who can make growth happen for others and hopefully learn to derive intrinsic satisfaction at the success of others.
So this all leads back to culture, which is so important. How do lawyers consciously create it?
Every good culture starts with a statement of vision, mission, and values. Some firms have these, some do not. It is really important to establish a vision for the company's future and a mission that describes what the firm is promising to deliver to clients. Finally, some important values should be identified so that all staff can learn to live by these. All of this serves to form the backdrop of which builds a firm culture. However, it is important to note that simply stating your vision, mission, values is not enough. It is important to translate them into action, into everything that takes place into the company. Otherwise, they just remain words on a page. Lawyers as leaders need to consistently model the behavior that speaks to vision, mission, and values and encourage their staff to do so as well. To increase the adoption of the company's mission, vision, and values, employees should be rewarded for explicitly demonstrating their understanding of these.
Those were all amazing tips. So, do you have any final tips or strategies on leadership and managing people effectively in a law firm?
Leadership is largely learned. Most people learn through trial and error and pay a high price in the process. I think leadership training and coaching is a necessary investment for anyone owning a business, as their contribution is ultimately the reason for success or failure. As I said previously, most professionals are never trained on leadership and have to educate themselves on how to do it. Why not do it right to begin with? Again, it's in that mindset of letting others be good at what they do and recognize how you can help them achieve their goals. This mindset shift will be a rising tide for everyone, but for the owner, the results will be exponential in terms of revenue growth and all around success.
So many things tie back to mindset. So, effective leadership is the final piece of the puzzle for building a high performing law firm. So, by communicating clearly, recruiting intentionally, and consciously shaping your culture, you can lead a team that's efficient, motivated, and aligned with your vision. So, Shama and I can help you develop these leadership skills and implement the systems to support the staff and your practice. So, thank you, Shama, for joining me again today. And thank you to everyone for watching our Building High Performing Teams in Law Firm series.
Thanks, Melanie. Remember, leadership is about guidance, clarity, and culture. Invest in these skills, and your team and your firm will thrive.